Welcome back, traders and investors. This is Joel Alconin with Premarket Info, and we're here with Lucci.
How are you? How are you?
We're doing pretty good. Before we get started with the interview, you have the Lucci Scholarship Fund coming up. You tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah. Basically, we do it. I think we do it every quarter. We sometimes we do it every couple of months. But basically, what we do is we hook somebody up with everything. All of our products for free. So it's a way to get all the education. It's a way to get plugged into the St. Lucie world. Without having to pay anything. So we accept applications, and the application process is pretty simple. Just 500 words or less. We have a couple questions, that we have them answer, and then this time around we're going to have them attach a meme to the application. Just a funny meme. I love memes, man. I don't know why, but I love these things. So we have them attach that as well, and then we go through these things, pick the best one, and that's how it goes.
Okay, that sounds good. Dennis, you want to give a shout out to Lucci here?
Hey, Lucci, how you doing? I actually caught your webinar there yesterday on how to exit trades, and I'll be interested to grill you a little bit more on that here on the show today, because I always have this problem where I've been a prop trader for 15 years. I'm always very good at entering trades. I'm kind of like a risk manager, but I always seem to get out of the position too soon. I leave a lot of money on the table. So,
again, that's a character trait of most traders. You're never going to be 100%, but you do want to consistently work towards, ironing out that process and getting better.
Now, you've had a big trade on here in the financials. Can you tell us a little bit about this trade?
Yeah. So what it was I went basket long every single one of the major banks. So your J.P. Morgan, your Citigroup, your Wells Fargo, your Goldman Sachs, your Bank of America, your J.P. Morgan. So I went basket long all 6 of them when the market broke out last week through all-time highs. And if you guys remember, Yellen, the Yellen comments were pretty dovish about QE and about continuing, the Bernanke methodology and everything. So we broke out to new highs, and I was like, okay, banks haven't participated in the whole rally since we started, maybe even during the summertime. So I figured, okay, the juice is going to run into these banks. And, I got the call right. And what happened was, on the exit, because I was so heavy in the position, when those Carl Icahn comments came out last night, or yesterday actually, during the close, about earnings being a mirage and the stocks could have a big drop, all of a sudden my bids just disappeared everywhere on my options, and I had so much size to get out of. There was really no way for me to move out of it, so I had to stomach a little bit of it and work my way out. So I was up 800 grand.
Whoa.
Yesterday, I was up 800 grand. I'm looking at my P&L. I'm up 800 grand, and then all hell broke loose, and I ended up booking it for about 450,000.
So Icon cost you about 350 grand there with his comments.
Lovely Icon.
You're not going to send him a fruit basket then for Christmas.
Love him.
So okay, and you talked about yesterday, so interesting enough how like in your seminar you're talking about exiting trades and how you have to sell into strength here. Is this somewhere where you just all of a sudden Icon took you and the strength turned so fast that you weren't able to sell into that strength?
That's exactly what happened. And there were opportunities for me to get out. The problem was that if you're not expecting something, oftentimes it happens so quickly you can't react until it's a little bit too late. And then once you miss that fraction of a second window, you're struggling to get it back. You're struggling to get it back, and you almost have to just hit market and just take whatever you can, and and then just kind of be done with it. So that's kind of what happened to me.
So you were in the individual equities, or you were in options on the equity? You're in the options. Okay.
Yeah, Joe, always in the options, man. There's no way I'm going to be able to make 800,000 with a capital investment of 300 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
Days,
You're looking
man.
at the
There's no
leverage.
way that's gonna happen.
And it was the weeklies then, correct?
No, actually, you know what? Actually, this time I swung with the December monthlies. So this time around, I was planning to stay in the trade for about five days, even to a couple of weeks. So I got in the monthlies, and I used the December monthlies to give myself enough time to get in the position.
So are you buying strikes that are like out of the money, kind of, or where? How do you like pick the strike point that you're buying? Are you buying out of the money?
Yeah, it all depends on what expiration I'm going for. So if I'm going for a weekly, I will go for something that's closer to the money. So let's say Goldman Sachs is trading at 165 right now. If I'm trading a weekly, I'm probably not going to jump all the way to the 170 weekly because it's 5 points out on Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
The thing's worth like 30 cents. I need a huge move to be able to make some serious cash in that. So what I'll do is I'll just buy the 165 in the money kind of thing, But if I'm buying a monthly, then I'm cool. Like I'll go out way out. For JP Morgan, let's say I went out 2 or 3 points. For Goldman Sachs, I went out about 5 points. For Bank of America, I went out a whole point and a half. I was trading the 15 call when the stock was trading about $14, 14 and change. And to go out a point on Bank of America, that's quite a bit.
Yeah, and obviously, but the potential there, because you can get that option real cheap. So, if it does start to move for you, the leverage you can get off that when you go out that far is huge.
Dennis, man. So I bought that option, the Bank of America monthly, for 12 cents.
Whoa.
For 12 cents, and it hit 43 yesterday.
Wow. So there you go.
43 yesterday, and then closed at freaking 30 cents.
Yeah, you can make 300-400% on something in a hurry when you make the right call, and that's what is nice about going out. When you go out a little bit further, the leverage you can get. That's why things going out further is to get that leverage, correct?
Right, but it's all about the timing too.
Yeah.
Because most of the time you're going to buy an option like that, most of the time those options go to nothing.
Yeah, they're like little lottery tickets.
Yeah, so most of the time, everything, again, comes back to the tape and then finding the right timing for these big picture breakouts. We hit the one on Bank of America. Honestly, I think she still has 16 in her, depending on, if the market decides to pull back here or not.
Okay. Also, you mentioned going in here that you like to go with the market here, and you were talking about the S&Ps, and I just what area I did pull up the chart here. Were you looking at a particular area on the futures? I know we had multiple closes around the 1767.50 level. We had that day where we opened much lower and came back. Was that the day that we had the low open, traded down to 17, I believe it was 54.50, and then came back up and closed above it?
That was the day that I started the position. You want to know why? Because I saw Bank of America put in every single one of the banks, they put in absurd moves higher. And that was the day that I started the position, because I have never, for me, because I look at the same stocks over and over, I hadn't seen that type of action for months. And these things have been consolidating for such a long time. So once I see that kind of action on the tape, that's it. I'm like, all right, that's it. Let's go. Let's do it.
So, yeah, because you're seeing some big money come into this name. And
Exactly.
that big money, and institutions often, just for the listeners on our show, institutions often take a few days to get into the positions that they want to get into.
Exactly.
So if you can identify when they are entering trades early enough, you can get some extended moves here, and that's exactly what's happened for you in that Bank of America trade.
Indeed. And to be honest, I mean, those are the same setups that I look for, in trading in general, because those are the big money setups that are really going to pay you out on the options. So that's just what we do.
All right. Go ahead, Dennis.
I was going to say, so what are you exactly looking at here? I'm just trying to where I was going with this. So you were saying you look at the financials, but you look at a lot of different stocks. Like what sectors or what specific stocks do you focus on? Is it all the big caps, like where there's liquidity in the options for you, or like which stocks do you pick on?
Yep, you summed it up in a nutshell. So it's all the large cap names that have volume on the options. So right now, I'll give you an example of my basket. Right now, I have all the financials, of course, because again, like I was writing 1,500 to 2,000 contracts of every single one of these. For Bank of America, I had 14,000 contracts of that monthly option. You know, so I was a good portion of the open interest in that particular monthly. So if I can't get that size, then for me it doesn't make sense to to really go for it, because I can't take $100,000 and put it in that option. So you take a stock like, let's see, AZO, like AutoZone. There's no volume in those options. If I put 100,000 in one of those options, I'm going to end up moving the stock. I'm going to end up having a huge impact on the price of that stock, and that's brainless if I'm really trying to do some serious trading. So it has to be names that have, again, volume on the option. So your Facebook, your Twitter now, which is open, Amazon, Netflix, the Googles, the Tesla, LinkedIn's, the price lines, the Apples, of course. LVS is a great one. And then, of course, all the banks. And then, of course, you got your SPY as well.
Taking a look at this Facebook here, we coming into some major support here at the 45.70 to 45.80 area. I've had 4 or 5 lows within that area. Are you taking a look at this one? Are you looking at the trading action today, or what would something that would trigger? Let's say if you're looking to take a position in this, are you looking at this as a potential bottom, or are you perhaps looking for it to crack through here and get back down to the $40 level?
Honestly, I've really disliked the tape on this thing in the past couple of days. Yesterday's action was pretty crazy, and then alongside with Twitter too. So both of them were super weak. And then honestly, just looking at that tape yesterday, she is ridiculously weak. It reminds me of Tesla too. So I think she can go even lower right now. I think there's an overall weakness in a lot of the social names. Like if you take a look at LinkedIn, with the Twitter IPO, I think she can get into the 30s. So I think she's still got a little bit more to go before you can aggressively start bouncing this stuff.
Okay,
we are getting some questions out of the chat here too, and he just wanted we got Ed Big Gray wants you to just talk about Twitter a little bit too. You're talking about Facebook breaking down. Where do you think Twitter could go?
I think Twitter. Definitely, you could see 35 or 36 on Twitter. The problem is, like, what I'm trying to do is every time you get a new issue like that, you got to figure out the tape on it, and you got to figure out how it moves. You got to let it sit for a little bit. So this Twitter, I was watching the tape yesterday. It was horrendous. It was very difficult to read, and the options too had really little volume. And we're seeing 100 million plus shares trade that first day. And now we're barely seeing like 7 million or 8 million shares traded on a day. So the volume is not even close to Facebook, which I was very surprised about. So I don't know. This is going to be a much difficult name to figure out than Facebook was.
You were part of that documentary, trading documentary. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Wall Street Code, man. Everybody should check that out. If you're on, if you're on YouTube, just YouTube the Wall Street Code. And what it's about was a guy named Chaim Bodick who was in the HFT world, who started his own hedge fund, and ended up taking a big loser on the hedge fund itself, but learned so much about microstructure and everything. About HFT and how exchanges kind of cozy up to them and provide a lot of these special order types that give these guys advantages over retail guys like myself. So, it basically kind of outlines his path through this whole world and brings in a lot of other characters who are well-versed in that area as well. There's David Lauer in there, who is an HFT trader at Citadel. There's Nanex, the Nanex CEO on there, who now is so big in the space at identifying manipulation, at identifying HFT, crazy volume within fractions of seconds. His name is Eric Hunsander. There was also Petrify on there, who is the CEO of Interactive Brokers. That guy's worth like $6 billion. And then there was us stuck in the middle. Then there was the Sang Lucci crew stuck in the middle. So it's a really cool documentary. Definitely, guys, check it out.
Yeah, I saw it too, and they did a great job. I tell you, editing that thing, and it was
Yeah.
very interesting just the way they put it all together. I really love that part too on Petterfee when he was showing the original iPad. There, he had
Yes.
like some big box thing that he had created for the
Yes.
floor. Like that's how
Yes.
smart this guy was. I mean, like this guy is like creating the first iPad. He's trying to get stock
Yeah.
quotes onto some machine he's created to be able to
Yes.
punch them in. And then there was rules that you couldn't enter trades automatically.
Right.
You had to enter them on the keyboard, so they had some machine typing on the keyboard or something because it was quicker than a crazy inventive
Yes,
that
this was
guy
all
is.
back in the 80s. I mean,
Yeah, it's
I was
unbelievable, that
born
part.
in 83. This guy had a touchpad on the floor of the exchange while everybody else was just, was just yelling orders out still. This
Guy's
guy
a
had a
genius.
touchpad that showed option, bid, and ask back in 83. So technology in the finance world, it took a little bit for them to catch up. But now, after regulations dropped in 2007, which was the regulation NMS, computers just took over, man. They took over the game, and basically, this is a movie to showcase that.
Talking about your financial trade, are you still lingering in that? Are you looking to take some more off here, or
Yeah, so actually what's going on right now is I still have a sizable position in this Goldman Sachs, and I'm looking to just bail out of it today and be done with it and go play video games. That is the plan.
Go enjoy the
So do you
350K.
to bail out of it? I mean, are you not wanting to show your orders? You're waiting for a big bid to come in there, or imagine when you're trading something like Bank America and you have that many options on. I mean, back in the day when I would trading size in the stocks like that, I would simply, just put out layers, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Do you feel that people start, to smell out your orders and your position and step ahead of you when you do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Especially when I have size. When I have size, like I saw it yesterday, full circle, and when I aggressively come into something, the market maker sees my flow right away, and he sees me crossing the spread. He sees me being very aggressive on the offer. So what he'll do is he'll pull back his offer. He'll pull back his offer, lighten up the liquidity, and make me pay up even more for it, just because he sees somebody who's thirsty, who's hungry for those contracts. So the market makers are very hip to a lot of the aggressive trading that I do. So I have to jump around on different routes. I gotta hit different exchanges. I even have to mess with their algorithms because again, it's a computer that's adjusting their bid and ask. So if the bid and ask spread is, let's say, 20 cents to 30 cents, I got to ping in between and see how they move their bid and ask to around my order that's stuck in between. There's a lot of cool things that you can do. You can see where they lean. Are they leaning to more towards the bid or the offer? Can I get a fill maybe 5 cents below the offer? Can I get a fill 5 cents over the bid? There's a lot of tricky things that you can do once you understand how their systems work and how their algos move around their bid and ask spread.
Will you throw some fake bids in there just to
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. You throw in some feelers in there just to see how they move around you, and then you can figure out where you can get a better fill, And that's provided you have time. If you have no time, you got to smoke an offer, you got to smoke a bid, It's just the name of the game.
Okay, JH3 is in our chat room here, and he is like your #1 fan, and he wants to contact you about that internship.
Sure.
So could you just go over that again real quick, that information?
Sure. Yeah, the scholarship, and again, for anybody who wants information on the scholarship, all you got to do is Google Sang Lucci scholarship. Make sure it's 2 words on Sang Lucci, and you will get it. It's the first post that pops up, and then it's a full description on what we require. And again, basically what we're looking for is 500 words. The questions are on the post, and we are also looking for a meme actually for you to send to us. So be creative with the meme, get funny with it. That's actually what I'm more interested in. If you can blow me away with the meme, that's it. You're in there, man. You're in there. You won. You won.
Okay, just moving over here to the general market here. The S&Ps did have that sell off yesterday, and now we're kind of getting a little bit of a bounce. We couldn't take out yesterday's low. We did go by it by a few ticks in the S&P futures. Now, one of my favorite things, and Dennis and I talk about this quite a bit, is you did basically have a 15-point pullback off the $1,800 level. I'd like to look at the 50% retracement. That takes you up into like 92, 93s. Do you think we're going to get a bounce up to that level, perhaps to lay out some shorts, or is there different indicators that you use? And I know you like to use the overall market as keys to your entries
Right.
and exits. So what, without giving away your secrets here, saying Lucci, what are potential scenarios you're seeing so you can get to your video games?
Sure, sure. Honestly, with the comments yesterday, it's either again the catalyst always comes when everybody's looking for it, and people react to that catalyst, when it's just time. So those icon comments just came out when it was the right time. Everybody was getting a little cautious. The market yesterday was very choppy around 180 on SPY, and they were just looking for an excuse to burn some longs and maybe take some profits off the table. So that's what ended up happening. And now the question is, do we really have follow through? Do we have that kind of follow through? That will continue pushing us lower and continue pushing us back down to where we broke from. Honestly, I don't think anything has changed here. I mean, just because this dude made some freaking comments, it doesn't mean everything. The cards, the house of cards, is going to collapse here. I think QE is still going to continue, so therefore people are still going to put risk on the table. So I think we just shoot right back up to where we were. Forget about the comments, and that's it. But I think it's also very choppy now. It's very choppy. It's very difficult to just buy something and make money on it. You're gonna be shaken out of your trades so many times if you try to hold these things, and that's just what kind of environment we're in. So you got to adjust your strategies to account for that. You gotta think about that. You got to plan for it.
Okay, Lucci, I will have to say we've done several interviews on the show, and you are definitely the most entertaining. I hope our other interviewers are not listening, but yeah, I'd strike that from the record. But you give us what I like about is your honesty and your passion for the markets, and there's no in between. You're either in or you're out, and you're very aggressive. And I think that if people want to be active in these markets, you have a plan. Just talking to you, you have a plan, right, wrong, or indifferent, and you stick to that plan. And that's really what you need in these markets. I think that folks should definitely apply for that scholarship. In fact, Brent's doing it right now, and I want people to participate in the Market Fi seminar. So thanks again, Lucci, for being on, and we certainly like to have you on again.
Awesome. Thanks for inviting me, guys. We'll do this soon.